So let's say you want to purchase your first home, you're having issues saving up money, you can't cover a down payment and closing costs. This is exactly how you're going to be able to purchase a home with very little out of pocket. I'll say even less than $1,000 in a lot of cases, and even come to the closing table with nothing out of pocket. The only big thing you have to do up front is you have to be upfront with your loan officer, and you need to plan, and you need to find the right loan officer who can do this with you. So first thing, what I do with all of my clients, and this is how I've been able to close these homes with my clients, is we need to look at this in two different aspects. We need to cover down payment and we need to cover closing costs. Now for our down payment, we have a few options to look at. First, if you qualify for a VA loan. VA loans, if you're an active military, retired, or surviving spouse, and you still have a VA benefit, you didn't leave the military in a dishonorable fashion, you probably qualify for a VA loan. VA loans have 0% down. If you're doing a USDA loan, if you're looking at a home where you're in a rural area, you can check USDA.gov to see what areas around you might qualify for a USDA loan. Also 0% down. But for most people, you don't qualify for either one of those and you want to buy a house that's actually in a suburb or in a city. What you're going to use instead is you're going to use an FHA loan. But you might say an FHA loan needs 3.5% down. We're going to use down payment assistance. And of course, yes, down payment assistance is going to cost a little bit more in your monthly payment. Now, let's say a $300,000 home, you're 3.5% down, you're going to need $10,500 to cover that down payment. Your monthly payment is probably going to be about $250 more per month. So what if you even tried to say, hey, I'll save $250 per month and I'll be able to save up the money to be able to cover my down payment? Well, it's going to take you over 3.5 years to cover that down payment because yes, 10,500 divided by 250, but you're going to have the house appreciating over that time too, and it's going to get harder and harder to purchase a home because we all know that there's commercial investors coming in, there's companies coming in and purchasing homes, and it's just going to get harder and more expensive to purchase a home later. So if we pay a little bit extra up front now, you can get into a home now, own your own place, and stop renting because now you've covered a down payment with down payment assistance. Then the second thing that we need to make sure that we're covering is we need to get closing costs covered. Now, depending on where you're living, these closing costs can be vastly different. A $300,000 home where I am in Arizona, your closing costs may be more like $8,000 to $9,000. If you live in a place like Florida where we have a lot higher taxes, insurance, you might be looking at $15,000 upwards of $20,000 for closing costs. And don't freak out, I'm including escrow in here too and everything involved with it. I'm not just including the one-time closing costs. So what we need to do is we may not be able to find the perfect property. It may not be a property that got listed today that you can do with this. You might have to find a place that's not perfect, been on the market for 30 plus days to be able to actually negotiate on the purchase price. But we're not going to negotiate on the purchase price. We're going to get seller concessions instead so we can roll in our closing costs so you can finance the closing costs into your loan and not have to pay them out of pocket right now. And you may have heard this from other people, other videos, other creators out there too. Stop letting them tell you that the seller is paying your closing costs. You are paying your closing costs. You're financing them into the loan. The seller's not paying anything because the exact same scenario, that $300,000 house, if you could offer $290,000 and they say yes, or you offer $300,000 and you get $10,000 in seller concessions, the lender is only funding the purchase price, but the seller, they're getting the exact same $290,000 in both situations, whether you negotiate $10,000 off the price or you get $10,000 in concessions. To them, it looks exactly the same. So exactly in that scenario, let's say you are here in Arizona where I am, you have a $300,000 house. We've got our down payment assistance. We've got that all set. We get $10,000 in seller concessions. You just bought a house with nothing out of pocket. And that's how I do that with clients that I work with myself.